As the controversy surrounding the alleged military plot to overthrow the democratically elected government continues to stir in Turkey, the media there continues to play a special role. The case is so big that every day there's virtually something new to focus on or talk about, whether it's a development or an insight. Should a case like this happen in the U.S. or in Europe, it's very likely that it would make headlines almost daily. So why is it not with the Ergenekon case? We turn once again to our guest for an insight into Turkey's case of the century.
So far, the international community's imagination and the popular imagination has not been captured by what's going on in Turkey. I think it's sufficiently because there's a few interesting reasons.
I think because there are too many other big things on the agenda. North Korea, Iran. Iran is the big story in the last 3 or 4 days, or last week, and the economic crisis, and not to mention the Middle East. So those 3 or 4 issues have gotten most of the attention.
So should media in the U.S. not cover it at all, or should simply sit back and continue to ignore this massive case?
And the American media focuses on the hot story of the day. This has been a source of great frustration for me. Turkey punches way below its weight in the world. I think increasingly it does punch its weight. But you know, right now we're looking at Iraq, we're looking at Pakistan, we're looking at Afghanistan, and now we're looking at Iran. You know, because things are working in Turkey, because Turkey is in fact a thriving democracy which gets more democratic every year. This is not something that the newspapers really like because it doesn't sell the story.
If anything, the story has all the goods of making a hit in Hollywood. But the fact is, this is real. Unidentified bodies are turning up all across the country. Hidden ammunitions are being found in bushes. And bad apples in the army are being summoned for an involvement in an alleged plot to overthrow the government and to weaken the Gulen movement. So how can anyone make sense of this?
This is so bizarre and so confusing that it's very hard to tell what's going on.
When I look at the story as it develops, I have a very hard time seeing what is going to happen in the long run, particularly when you have judicial procedures. We know that there are different tendencies within the Turkish judiciary, and that there was pressure within the judicial establishment to abolish the AK party. So the judiciary itself is not completely neutral, and parts of the judiciary are sympathetic to the conservative faction within the military. Nevertheless, I have great faith in the rule of law.
Despite the inconsistent and lack of coverage from the U.S., David Cathal says Turkiye is one of the most important places in this world.
And keep in mind that Turkey is one of the most dynamic societies, economies, you name it, in the world. You know, if there are 2 or 3 countries right now that are absolutely crucial and interesting and great, you know, Turkey is one of those 3 countries.
The Turkish army and the Turkish government certainly will have a lot of work in the coming days. There are many issues with regards to this case and the plot, which may have a global effect if these illegal establishments succeed in overthrowing the democratically elected government. This will not only change the politics within the country, but also the direction that the country is headed towards the EU membership and being a constructive and productive member of the global society. At a time that Turkey approaches crossroads in dealing with non-democratic elements, it will not only need support from the U.S. government, but also will need moral support from all layers of society, including media.